Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of GGRC, where I'm trying to keep good games alive. This is RC, and today we are taking a look at Fortnite Battle Royale. Now, there's been a lot of controversy over this new game mode that's been released. For those who don't know, Fortnite is its own game. Battle Royale is something that has been added recently, but Fortnite is a game that has been talked about for years and years and years by Epic, that it was coming and soon it'll be here. It was finally, well, pseudo-released this year. It's in early access, but you gotta pay to get access. But then the game will be free next year if you wait. But if you become a founder now, you'll have access to all these other things. I don't know. I was actually invited to the beta, and I thought the game was pretty cool. It's basically, it's where you set up forts, and you have all of these different plans and everything to keep these aliens and these zombies and stuff out from getting into your base and destroying it. It's sort of a third-person tower defense. And from the little that I played, I actually enjoyed myself quite a bit. I thought it was a really cool game. It seemed like a great game that I could play with friends. But there's been a lot of confusion over what this game is, whether it's actually officially out, when it's really going to be out. It's really odd because a big company like Epic has released this game and put it into something that's like early access they do on Steam, but they're a company that could easily have just released this when it was ready. And, you know, like I said, right now they're charging for it, and then later they're not going to charge for it. It's going to be free in 2018. I don't really know what they're going for here. So there's been a lot of confusion here. If I'm confused, you know, and I'm knee-deep in games a lot of the time, chances are a lot of the casuals, a lot of normal people are going to be really confused by this marketing too. So what do? Well, it would seem as though they copied off of a more popular game known as PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And, you know, most anybody who's a first-person shooter fan or a action game fan has heard of this year. It is one of the biggest early access games to have ever come out. So much so as having the largest concurrent online user base. I guess they beat Dota. Dota was around a million people at once playing a game online. Somehow PUBG has beat that and reached 1.5 million, which is insane. And I guess recently Fortnite coming out with this Battle Royale, they somehow said that I guess they had 1 million players playing it, which I don't know. I don't know if they mean 1 million people registered to play it and have played it, or if they mean concurrent like in PUBG. I'm really not sure. But there's been a lot of controversy behind Fortnite Battle Royale, and I can understand why, because I played, I would say, maybe 10 to 12 rounds of this, a few single, a few squad, and the similarities are they're there. There are a lot of similarities there. It's kind of insane. But you know, this is a really big lead up here. I wanted to kind of caveat this playthrough here with a little bit of the news that's been around this game here. Before we jump in here, I just wanted to go over some of that stuff. But let's jump right into the gameplay so you guys can get an idea of what you're in store for here. Well, here I think this is a good match to start talking about here. So, for those of you who haven't played any of the Battle Royale style games here, or PUBG for that matter, you basically are thrown into the mix with 100 other players. You have the option of playing in a squad, which is you with 3 other people, 4 people total, or you can do singles, where it's just you against 99 other people. And singles can be pretty difficult, just like it is in PUBG. I find that squads is a bit more fun in this version of Battle Royale. But as you can see, just like in PUBG, you are kind of thrown in with a bunch of your crazy friends here at the beginning just to have some fun with. So what you saw right there, though, is one of the biggest differences between Fortnite Battle Royale and PUBG is that in this you can actually build stuff. So one of the things in Fortnite that you do in the normal game is you are building your fort, as I might have mentioned. So you're trying to keep aliens and zombies and robots and stuff like that out of your base from taking it down. So you do that by building pieces of your fort all around. And this continues that fort building mechanic. The one thing I can say is it hasn't come into play a whole lot from what I played so far. That's not to say that it won't change going forward. Now here's the first instance of how it's identical in some ways to PUBG. So you can see that you ride a, well, in PUBG it's a plane, but in this it's a flying bus. So you're riding this bus across this map and you're trying to pick a place to drop out of. And when you drop out of it, you are entirely doing the exact same thing from PUBG. You pretty much free fall into a parachute and try to land where you're, try to land where you're marked on the map here. So, as you can see here, we jump out of the bus. Again, very much like PUBG. Pretty much the exact type of setup. And I assume this is what the guys behind PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds were getting a little bit uptight about, considering the whole beginning, the introduction of your match is identical. You go through the process of like goofing around with your friends before you start. You jump on the flying plane, or in this case, bus, and then you free fall parachute into your landing zone. And of course, when you land, you also have things getting a little hectic here. You can see me and a teammate of mine are actually going right after this guy as he tries to go get a weapon. Luckily, we're able to take him down. Right here, I'm trying to take this guy out, but I'm not noticing, oh, there's another guy shooting at me. For a moment there, I thought it was my teammate, but it wasn't. But we're saved by our other teammate there. So when you're playing the squad stuff in Fortnite Battle Royale, what I notice is that nobody really talks to each other. They use the map as sort of the guidance to where you're going. I noticed that I ran into a lot more people who didn't really know what they're doing. I had a few matches where when you're flying in, you select where you want to go on the map, and on the map, everyone sort of selects the same spot. Once somebody picks a spot, usually everybody goes along with it, like, okay, that looks good. And there always happens to be one or two people. This time I got lucky. It's me and two other people on the team all working together. But I've had it where all four of us dropped out at different areas. And I don't know if it's because people didn't play PUBG before and this might be their first exposure to Battle Royale, which is totally fine. You know, you got to get into the genre somehow. But they don't understand where, you know, you need to drop to actually make it to where you put your landmark. So some people were putting it like way across the map. There's no way you'd be able to reach it from the bus. And then other people were putting it within a good distance, but then they drop out really early, and they'd never be able to reach it from where they dropped out. But this was actually the first time that I dropped into this little lake area here. I thought this was very, very cool looking, which leads us to the other big difference between the two games, which is the aesthetics. I really, really, really like the style of this game. I might even venture to say that I like it more than PUBG. PUBG has always had sort of a cheap, you know, basic Unity assets used feel to it, you know. So it's never really been quite striking to me. This I've always been a fan of like cell shading and, you know, Mario style aesthetics or whatever, and this definitely has that look to it. One of the other big differences too is that your pickups are a lot different. In this, you have a pickaxe that you always start out with. In PUBG, you have to pick up a melee weapon. All of your weapons come as is. You can find blue and green weapons, so the blues are more powerful than the greens are more powerful. I'm not sure what the difference is in damage and everything. I don't think it explains that very well. But what I can say is that you know for a fact that the blues and greens are better than a normal weapon. But in that same instance with PUBG, you could grab all kinds of different attachments for your guns to make them a little bit more powerful, different scopes and that kind of thing. In this, if you want to be able to use a scope, you specifically have to find a sniper rifle. There's no attachments, there's no stocks, there's no, you know, bullet loops, you know, there's no particular, you know, 8 times, 4 times, or red dot sights, no scopes at all. So basically what you pick up is what you get. If you find bandages, those are your bandages. If there's a first aid kit, there's a first aid kit. One of the other special things you can pick up, though, are particular pieces that you can build. So while you're in a game and you can build, you can actually find pieces like jump pads and that kind of thing to build in case you need to use them to get up onto certain cliffs and stuff like that. But again, I haven't played too many games where that was actually a big deal. We will be cutting into some gameplay after this match here. I wanted to show off a full match so you can get an idea of what it's like here. But yeah, there was one match where it felt like the players playing on this other team had a really good grasp of how to build a fort and win the game together in a squad. Of course, that also helps if you're on Discord together and you're working together. The other thing that this game lacks that PUBG has is the fact of the customization of characters. I'm sure that's something they'll add into this at some point, but it's kind of disheartening because these characters are screaming to have custom shirts and custom hair and all that stuff and let you make your own character, but you can't. You're just kind of stuck with every character. Oh! And unfortunately, I'm short-lived here. This is where they take me out. And this part of this was because if you look at the map, or rather, if you were able to look at the map, my team was nowhere near me. They were over here, like, picking up stuff from somebody else. I thought we were sticking around the garage area, which is why I went looking around. But this guy was nowhere near the garages, so no, I had absolutely no backup for anybody to help me out. So I just went down, another guy went down, and then that is the end of that match. Now here in this next match, as most of you might know that play PUBG or other Battle Royale games, is that games, depending on how good you do, could last anywhere between, 2 minutes to a half hour. This is one of the longer games I actually got to participate in here because I had a pretty good team who were actually sticking together. I felt like the two that were in my crew might have been on Discord together playing, and I might have just been like an okay add into the team who was actually helping out. I actually got a decent kill further into the match too. But what I want to say about Battle Royale, the Fortnite version that is that I am actually having fun with it. As I've already mentioned, it is a more stripped-down version of what they offer in PUBG. PUBG offers a lot of, customization, offers a lot of interesting ways to build your guns and everything, offers you different ways to try to snipe people. If you're not able to, snipe them, you're going to have other weapons that are more powerful at your disposal. And this game has that too, but there just isn't as much customization there. I don't know if that's somewhere this game will get at that point, but it is interesting, isn't it? You could see there from what I was looking at the maps there, that this is where we picked to land at the end of the bus trip here. You can see the 3 people behind me on the map, for some reason, jumped out of the bus super early. As we all know, you can kind of jump out right over your destination and you're good to go there. And I feel like this is why I probably landed. I mean, they must know something I don't, right? They're landing slightly quicker than I am. But this is one of my, from some of the matches that I played earlier, this might be one of my favorite start points here because I'm immediately running into a crappy situation here. I at least am able to grab a gun so I can take somebody out. There we go. So there's one kill for me. There's another guy up there who's trying to take me out. And believe it or not, we still have not covered all the differences here. So you see a police car sitting there. You actually can't use vehicles in this either. That's one of the things that PUBG has over this game. Vehicles are a ton of fun in PUBG. In this, I don't know if it's something they're going to add later or not. I would assume no, because the map in this feels a lot smaller. This game feels a little bit more contained than PUBG. PUBG's map, it looks about the size of what you would see here if you hit the map button and take a look at it. But once you get into it, you realize this world is a bit smaller. It's still big, don't get me wrong, but in PUBG it feels like you need a vehicle to get around sometimes. Actually had somebody on the end over there trying to scare them up a little bit. So I have 2 teammates running around this little prison area trying to get weapons and that kind of thing while I'm doing the same. I don't run into them for a little bit. But one of the other big differences that Fortnite has is, as we talked about earlier, you can build stuff, and that's mainly why I wanted to show this map, is that once my team gets to the end of this map, we get pretty far into it. You could see this other team and how they were building their fort to keep people out and survive, and they were doing an amazing job with it. And you could see how the building pieces in this game are really going to come into being very useful in future games of this as it goes on. But on that same note, there are certain environments in this world that are completely destructible. So you have walls that you can actually use your pickaxe on and bust right through. So if you can't get into a room and someone's pinning you down, not letting you get in. You could actually use it to bust through certain walls and get in there to get whatever items you're looking for, or get to whatever it is you're trying to do. It's pretty cool. So finding all kinds of different treasure chests here. One of the other things too, PUBG being more customizable, has a lot of armor. Lots of helmets, vests, backpacks to expand your inventory. From what I could tell in Fortnite, there aren't too many of those options there. Here we go. We got a little bit of a fight here. Throw a couple grenades down there, but they don't even get close. But you could see what those grenades do is they actually took out a bit of the floor that was right there, which I think is really, really cool. That dude threw a grenade right in there and got me. See, took out the floor right there. I think that is a super, super cool thing to do. It would be so awesome to play, a battle royale where you could like destroy, a whole building. That would be a ton of fun. But yeah, as I was saying, there's no armor in Fortnite. Fortnite does it where you have shield potions that you could take. So you once in a while can take or pick up a potion. You take the shield potion and you gain some shield. I believe it's increments of 50, if I remember correctly. Reviving our friend here. I went down, the day went down, so... You go down pretty quick if you're not paying attention in this. So it's interesting because it's much more of a throwback where this is very run and gun. You jump in when you start a map, you grab a gun. You don't have to worry about any kind of attachments for it. You could grab a shield potion, but you don't have to worry about picking up any kind of armor because there is none. There's no backpacks to expand your inventory. What you get is what you get. Again, not sure if any of that's going to change going on. It very well could. And I really hope that it does because this game is fun. I love the look of it. And... I think they could do like some really, really cool stuff with it if they keep going with it. And try to make it a little bit more unique of a game. Try to make it a little bit different from PUBG, because right now it feels very, very similar. I mean, you're even doing the same thing where, not only is it last man standing, but they have the circle on the map. If you look on the map, we're always going towards the white circle. We didn't really get to get into that the last match because we had no reason to. But this one, since it lasts a little longer, we're going to actually be paying attention to that a bit more. One of the other big differences, too, is that PUBG costs money. Now, I believe at a normal price it's $29.99. It's $30. Fortnite Battle Royale, you can download and play for free. You can't play the normal Fortnite game. As we said, there's a little bit of confusion there because it's supposed to be a free-to-play game at some point, but right now you have to pay for it. But right now, you could play this for free. You can download it right now and play it, which I think is really, really cool. It's a really good game for free. But it has a long way to go to get to somewhere where it needs to be. Here we go. We have some of our guys actually building stairs up here to try to get to these areas here where they can find more items, which is pretty cool. So you can run up these made stairs. One of the other things I haven't talked about either that's a bit different in this game, though it is somewhat the same, is the UI. Now, the UI in this is vastly improved for over PUBG, in my opinion. If you look at the top, the compass I feel like stands out a lot more than it does in PUBG. You can see on the map there too that where the circles are shrinking there. But the other stuff that's on the UI here is you have your weapons in the bottom right, so you always know what you have in your inventory, which I like. PUBG being a more hardcore game, kind of like a Diablo, where you have to look into your inventory and see what you got, attach things yourself, that kind of thing. This game is able to put everything you need right on the screen, and for me, it was never a problem of like too much stuff on the screen. They strike this great balance of like third-person perspective, where you can see where the fight is. You could see to your left and your right, even though there's a lot of information on the screen, but it's easy to read. I like that. Now, the slots that you have in the bottom right there, that's all you have for your inventory. Like I said, no backpack upgrades, so if you find bandages and you want to hold those bandages for later in case you need to repair yourself, which my guy's not doing too well right now, he needs some bandages, you actually have to remove one of your weapons in the slots to do that. So you're gonna have to give up the shotgun or the handgun or something to hold a first aid kit or bandages. But yeah, really, really like the UI. That's one of the things that I really wish that PUBG would, give a little bit more attention to. Fix that UI up a little bit. It always feels a little janky to me when I'm playing it. And on that same note, PUBG has always been a little bit janky. It's part of the charm of the game, right? That it's a little weird and sometimes the physics don't add up, right? There we go. I finally got some bandages there. See, I'm managing inventory right now. I'm swapping guns for bandages and that kind of thing. But the one thing I will say with PUBG's jankiness is that when I first started playing it a few months ago, my computer sounded like it was going to take off, like it was on a runway like a jet, like it was just going to take off. It was just very unoptimized. It needed more optimization options, and they, for a game that looked the way it did, it just, I don't know. It feels like it should be running way better. I feel like they've fixed a lot of that now. I feel like my computer does really well to handle it better now, so I think they've optimized it a bit. But I've never had that problem with Fortnite Battle Royale here. This always runs smooth. It's like butter. Always runs 60 frames. I have had it where there were a few skips and jumps and starts every once in a while. Like I'll turn and there'll be like a little frame skip here or there. But it's very few and far between, and I can run my computer on a normal mode. It doesn't have to be on a performance mode or anything like that, and it runs the game just fine. So it's very, very well optimized. I think it's because they've been spending so much time with the normal Fortnite game, getting that ready to the point where it was good for release and everything. And when you have a game that looks like this, it almost seems like it's easier for the computer to sort of interpret. Considering both games have a very different aesthetic, this one has a little bit more of a comic book cartoony look to it, and PUBG has a much more realistic vibe going on there. You could definitely see why that's the case, but I don't know. In a strange world, I almost prefer the look of this game, if I had to say. I know I've said it earlier, but I say it again. I think I might kind of prefer it. It just runs so nicely. Now, this particular part of this match, this is a part where I'm going to be kind of staking out with these two. I decided to build a wall right here. It's my first building I think I've done in the game, actually. So this would block anybody coming in from the back. Now, the people coming in from the back, it's not like they couldn't use their axe and break through that, because they totally could do that. But the cool thing about it is you'd be upstairs and you would hear that, so you would know that there was someone in the house breaking in. And of course, that person trying to break that wall down, they're going to know that there's somebody in the house hiding out. So sort of a double standard there. I was going to put a wall there going up, but I thought that would be a little bit overkill. So we stake out in this house for a bit. Those who play Battle Royale know that this is kind of all part of it. You're always running with your team to find new weapons, move from house to house, area to area, and then you wait for the circle to collapse. But while we're waiting here, I do get a nice kill when someone tries to break in. So you get to see that in a moment here. Man, we keep looking out these windows. You keep seeing these cars that are sitting out there. Man, it would be so cool if at some point they decided to add in, usable vehicles and that kind of thing. How cool would it be to like drive an RV and have all your friends in the back of it going after, other people? So here we actually hear some gunshots. Not quite sure where they're coming from just yet. So instead of going by the windows, we decide to kind of like hold off here. See who's going to break in from the back, and I cover the front here. This is a great example of a team having absolutely no communication, but just kind of knowing what to do. They're guarding the bottom area. I'm guarding the door. And these are those tense moments in the games where you're just like, man, where are they going to break in? How are we going to take this guy out? We're still in the white circle there, as you can see in the map, so things are going well. Boom. We were able to take out that guy trying to bust in through the front door. Now, I'm sure I had a little bit of help from my teammates on that one. Look at all the goodies they drop down. Every time you take somebody out, they drop all of this stuff. Another big difference from PUBG is when somebody dies, you know, they have this big chest that you have to kind of sort through and decide what you want to take. But in this, they just drop everything right there in a very run and gun style, like almost Quake style, you know, type of thing. Like here's a backpack of stuff. Just pick up whatever you want, you know, which I think is really cool. But I'm sure I had a little bit of help on that kill there, but I got the credit for it. So I don't know if that just meant I got the last shot or if I did the majority of the damage. But I was big time able to help there. See? Another pink car that would have been great to ride around with. Ride right through the hills. So I believe our house was like just outside of the circle, so we had to kind of get going here. But we're going to have a little bit of a standoff here. This was my first encounter with snipers here in the game. I'm not quite sure who's shooting me. It would seem, you know, somebody I'm facing here to the west is shooting at me, and then we have snipers over to the north there as well. So 2 of us go down, and this might be a bad scene for me. Right there, I'm taken out. But this was one of the only games that I felt a commitment to. One of the only games I played where I had other people I felt like were doing pretty good. So I kind of stuck around to spectate. Now this is one of the... There you go. There's a destructible tree. Oh my god, that poor tree. But I actually felt a good commitment with this team, and I was like, you know, I'm going to stick around. I'm going to see what else you know, they're going to do here. I like that aspect right there. They put up a wall to sort of like block any oncoming shots from the sniper, which is pretty smart. It's another way to use those buildable walls and everything there. But yeah, as I was saying, you know, it's the only team I felt like I wanted to stick by and see what they did, because I played with them for, you know, a good amount of time here. A lot of times when you're with a team and you're not really cohesive, you're not working together, I have no problem just bowing out of the game because I really don't care if they make it or not. But these guys, like, stuck with me. They brought me back a couple times. And I felt like we had a pretty good team going. So they actually make it a pretty good ways from this point. Once they head over here, this is what I was initially talking about, where we were kind of going into how, you know, a team might use building materials and forts and stuff to make something really cool. But coming up here, they're gonna take a look at what they have to deal with here. If you look up there, right in the center below where it says spectating, they built all of that stuff up there. This is basically like their huge fort that they built. So they have built it, looks like, right in the middle of the white circle there. I'm not sure how they were going to know where the white circle was going to be, if they predicted it or what, or maybe they just collected as much stuff as they could and started building as soon as they knew where it was going to be. But I thought that it was very clever placement, and I thought it was really, really cool that they put everything together in that spot and built their own fort to keep people out and win the game. I'm assuming whoever was up there won the game, but I guess you never know, right? The next few minutes of this are a little tough because they're kind of trying to figure out what to do and how to broach getting up there. Again, we have absolutely no communication. Even though I'm watching, I have no idea what they're saying or thinking or you know, contemplating doing. But during this time, I was trying to figure out how to spectate correctly. I was watching this person here, and I was trying to figure out what the buttons were to, you know, check out the other teammates, see what they're doing at the time, see what they're viewing. And I could not figure it out for the life of me, so I'm not really sure what that button was. So as you can see here, for the first time during the whole match, my teammates here don't really seem to know what to do. They're kind of stuck in here. I think they're waiting for the circle. I think that's their main concern right now, is they're waiting for that circle to collapse again and see what the player count gets down to. But you can see right now it's down to 8, now down to 7. So they are, you know, 2 of the 7 left. There's 5 left. So if the whole of the other squad that's up in that fort survive, that means, 4 of the 7 are of one team. That very rarely seems to happen in the Battle Royale games. The most I've seen finish a game together was 3, but I'm sure 4 has happened plenty of times. I've just actually never seen it in-game. So now the white circle is going to collapse a little bit more. And the real question is, what are they going to do? And the other question is, does the team up in the fort even know that they're there yet? Really liked, you could see the view there. There's that stack of cars out there in the distance, like a tractor trailer with cars and stuff stuck to it. Almost looks like a really dumb-looking transformer or something, Would be great to, I was saying, if they enabled the use of vehicles in this game, to have it where you could build a vehicle and, then drive that around. That would be even cooler. Okay, they're making a break for it. They got to do something. See, this team just got really lucky on the placement of this fort. I don't know how they knew it was going to be in that part of the circle up there, but it's just really, really interesting and weird. So now the team up there is just going to like completely destroy this environment down here to get down at them. There it is. And that's the end of the game. So you can see that one of the teams up there has this like really, really nice vantage point up there, and they were able to take out my team. But there you go. That is Fortnite Battle Royale. I think it is a cool little game, especially for free. As you can see, it does rip off PUBG quite a bit in certain ways. I don't feel like there was a reason why Epic couldn't come up with like some ulterior ways to come up with, throwing a player into the mix and that kind of stuff. But hey, you know what? It's here. I don't know if there's going to be any repercussions from that. I know that the PUBG team has talked about taking further action on it, even maybe getting the law involved with it. But we're just going to have to see how that pans out. But until then, I think that this is a pretty cool alternative to what you have with PUBG. It's a completely different look. With a very same style of gameplay, but it's very tightened up. There's no armor, no additives, and that kind of stuff. What you see is what you get here. So I feel like it's one of those games that's like a great first timer battle royale type of game. But anyway, there you go. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you all next time.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to check out some of the other GGRC episodes, and if you're feeling a little retro, why not jump into the Quake grave, where you can watch me play through a lot of different custom maps in Quake. Enjoy!